Hello and welcome back to 100 Coding Challenges in C#. This is episode 14 and it's called Age Selection 2. Now in this episode we're going to attempt to do something very similar to what we did in episode 7 when we asked the user how old they were and told them whether they were old enough to drive or not. However, in this episode we're going to be using a select case statement instead. I'm going to be supporting a few additional scenarios. So in this challenge we're going to be asking the user for their age, and based on their age, if they are under the age of 16, we want to tell them that they are too young to drive. If they are 16, we want to say you can drive from this year. If they're anywhere between 17 and 65, we're going to say you are old enough to drive. If they're between 66 and 75, we're going to say you need to renew your license periodically. And anything else, we're going to say that you need to renew your license annually. If you'd like to give this a go yourself, then pause the video now and we'll get started shortly. Alright, so let's begin. We're going to start by asking the user how old they are. So we'll say, how old are you? And then we'll store that in a integer called age. We're going to convert that to an int32 right off the bat. So convert it to int32 console.readline, which you take the input from the user, convert it into an integer and store it into this age variable. Okay, so if you've done the previous episode, you should know how to write a switch statement. So similarly, in this one, we're also going to be writing a switch statement. However, this time we're going to be using the age variable. And in here, we can start writing all of our different scenarios. So for the first one, we're going to say case int n when age less than 16. So don't worry about this int n thing, it's just a C# syntax that we need to use to be able to do conditional statements within a switch statement. In other languages you might not need to do this, and you could probably just say case age is less than 16, something like that. So for this one we'll say console.writeline you are too young to drive, and then it's giving us a red squiggly because we haven't got a break in here. So there we go. Notice I did age is less than 16, so that means that only up until the age 15 we're going to be showing this, because this doesn't include 16 as it's only when age is less than 16. If it was to include 16, it would be this, which means where age is less or equal to 16. So our next case is going to be case 16. So this is when age just straight out equals 16. We can say you can drive from this year. Do another break. We need to write break so that it can break out of the switch statement, as we've discussed before. And then for the next one, we want to say if or case int n when age is greater than 16 and age is less than 66, then we want to say you are old enough to drive. Let's just put that break on there. So again, don't worry about this or this bit here. Age is greater than 16, which means it doesn't include 16. Up until now, we've already handled up until 15 and then 16, and now we're saying when age is greater than 16, so from 17 onwards, and age is less than 66. So that will go up until 65, and then we will display this message. Notice how in both scenarios I've said the whole statement, so age is greater than 16 and age is less than 66. I used to get confused about this when I first started programming, where I guess in English it would make sense to say something like when age is greater than 16 and less than 66, but you need to make sure to always include the value that you're comparing against between each one. This AND operator will connect these two together, so the statement will only be true when both of these conditions are met. Now, for the next case, to do something similar. So when n age is greater than 65 and age is less than 76, I want to say you need to renew your license periodically. So in this one we're saying if age is greater than 65, so from 66 to 75, you need to renew your license periodically. And then to finish off, we'll have a default case, which means anything else, we're just going to say you need to renew your license annually. Can't spell. Okay. And then break here as well. Default. Okay, so let's run a few different scenarios. What I'm going to do is just wrap this in a while loop so that we can keep testing all the different scenarios. Don't worry about this. This isn't something that you need to complete the challenge. But I'm just going to put a while true here. What this will do is just it will constantly keep running this code over and over and over again until I shut down the application. So usually you can use while statements to have like actual conditions to be met within your code so that it can process and go on to the next bit. But I've just set this to true, so it's just going to keep running forever. This is just a little development trick that I like to use when working with console applications, just to keep testing all the different scenarios. Okay, so let's start off by saying I am 14. This should say I am too young to drive. Notice this has just said how old are you again because of the loop. It's just started the program again. So don't worry too much about that. So if I say I'm 15, it should still say I am too young to drive. However, if I say I am 16, it should say you can drive from this year. Moving on from that, let's try another extreme, which is 65. You are old enough to drive. 17, you are old enough to drive. Anything in between should say you are old enough to drive. Let's try 66. You need to renew your license periodically. And then 75, you need to renew your license periodically. 76 should say renew your license annually. There you go. And then anything else should be renew your license annually. So yeah, if you remove this while loop thing that I added, it should just run once and complete. So let's say, for example, I wrote 65, should say you're old enough to drive, and then the program ends. So yeah, you can use that while loop trick if you want to just kind of help you run your program over and over again if you're testing something like this, for example. But that's it. This is the end of that challenge. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.